Hey there, House here. So as you may have noticed, I did not make a video last week. It was a rather busy weekend and I really just never found the time. I did, however, post my picks for week 8 on Facebook, and with those picks I went 9-6, bringing my overall record to 67, 55, and 1, and my win percentage to 54%. So let's get rolling in week 9, shall we? We start off on Thursday night with the Texans versus the Eagles, which is a game that's going to kick off 15 minutes from the start of my recording. I like the Eagles in this one. There's really no reason that they should lose. They're 7-0. They have one of the best offenses. They have a really stout defense, and they're just going to overmatch this Texans team pretty easily. Next up, Patriots versus the Colts. I like the Patriots here. Whether it's going to be Mac Jones or if he continues to struggle, they'll go to their backup quarterback, Zappy. The Colts are going with their rookie Sam Ehlinger, I believe his name is. He didn't play all that well last week. Plus, Jonathan Taylor's dealing with an injury. There's some question marks on if he'll even be available to play. So I like the Patriots in this one. Lions versus Packers. I would love nothing more than to pick the Packers to lose this game, but because they're going against the Lions, and I made that promise a while ago that whoever goes against the Lions, I'm picking that team. I'm picking the Lions to lose every week. So I'm picking the Packers begrudgingly in this one because I really don't see them beating the Lions, but I have to. So I'm picking the Packers. Next up, we have the Falcons versus the Chargers. Now, this one's a bit tougher. Justin Herbert's missing some offensive weapons. He's going to be out Mike Williams and more than likely Keenan Allen. So he's going to have some inexperience and some young players at the receiving position, which really just means a heavy dose of Austin Eckler for this game. The Falcons have one of the worst defenses in the league, and I think they won't be able to stop Eckler even if they know he's going to touch the ball over 30 times in this game. Picking the Chargers. Jets versus the Bills. Jets have played well recently over this last month or so, but it's not going to matter against this Bills team. Their defense is strong and their offense is just too good to be stopped. Commanders versus the Vikings. I actually like the Commanders in this one. I believe it's still going to be Taylor Heineke, but he's shown success with his receivers and McLaurin. They have their rookie running back who has been running better once he's been getting more touches. They still have Antonio Gibson, who's a strong runner when healthy and getting his own touches. The Vikings, to me, just seem like a 6-1 team that I believe most of their wins are within one score, so there's one thing that can go wrong that would result them losing the game. So I'm predicting that happens here with the Commanders. Next up, Bengals versus the Panthers. The Panthers were involved in a shootout last week that should have saw them as the victor against the Falcons, but they ended up losing due to after a touchdown, a 15-yard penalty in sportsmanlike conduct on their wide receiver Moore as he took his helmet off after a touchdown, which pushed the extra point back 15 yards. They missed the extra point, go into overtime, and lose in overtime. So they should have won. They didn't. It was a game where P.J. Walker and Donta Foreman completely went off and had huge days. That kind of production repeat is going to be difficult, especially against this Bengals team. I know they look pretty rough against the Browns, and they're still going to be without Jamar Chase. But I think another week under their belt with a playbook that it spreads the ball out with their other offensive weapons, I think they'll get it right this week. Picking the Bengals. Jaguars versus the Raiders. Neither team looks good here. The Raiders got shut out last week, 24-0 by the Saints, and the Jaguars blew a lead in London and lost over there against the Broncos. I'm leaning towards the Raiders mainly because I saw a stat that said Trevor Lawrence in his career, he is 5-20. Now I know it's early in his career. He wasn't supposed to be phenomenal right off the rip. They have some good pieces. They have Travis Etienne Jr., who is now the feature back, and last week showed what he could do when he gets those types of touches. I just think that the Raiders have more of an ability to right the ship sooner rather than later. So picking the Raiders here. Bears versus the Dolphins. I like the Dolphins in this one. Tua came out on fire last week, showing that he still likes to throw the ball deep to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, as they both had really big days. And they'll be going against this Bears defense that has been trading away its premier pieces as they're looking to just stockpile draft picks for the upcoming year. So I think it's going to be an ugly one. I'm picking the Dolphins. Cardinals versus Seahawks. A game that I was leaning back and forth on, not quite sure who we wanted to pick. I'm leaning more the Cardinals way, partially because I'm still not sure if Geno Smith is that guy in Seattle. Last week he had to be because their run game really couldn't get a lot going. So he was tapped on for more passing attempts, and it helped him out in the game. I think the Cardinals still kind of working into their offense, having another week with DeAndre Hopkins back is really going to help them out, and I'm picking them to win this one. Next up, we have the Bucs versus the Rams. This is another matchup where neither team looks particularly good right now. The Bucs look worse than the Rams, and fun fact, the Rams have won 8 out of the last 9 games that these two have played each other. So I'm picking the Rams. And for Sunday Night Football, we have the Chiefs versus the Titans. This is one where I was leaning the Titans' way most of the time, because over their last 6 or 7 games, the Titans have won all but one of them. They seem to have the Chiefs' number. They play well against Mahomes, whatever it is. But then remember, Tannehill's still dealing with an injury, and there's no guarantee that he plays in this game. If he doesn't play, they're going to go to their rookie quarterback for him last week and put up a whopping 55 yards. So it's going to be a heavy dose of run with Henry, which he shows he can do that. But I just don't think he'll be able to do enough against his Chiefs team without Tannehill. And for Monday Night Football, we have the Saints versus the Ravens. I like the Ravens in this one. Lamar Jackson is still one of the better quarterbacks out there. They're going against a Saint team that put up a goose egg on defense against the Raiders, which was a good confidence boost for them. They still have some good names on that defense. But I think there are just too many weapons, especially with Lamar Jackson on this Ravens team, for them to even think about shutting him out. Picking the Ravens. Well, there you have it. Those are my picks. Thank you for tuning in to the House Report. If there are some selections that I made that you disagree with, please leave your own picks in the comments section. And lastly, to all my betting friends out there, remember, you win some and you lose some, but the house always wins.